Welcome to the 10th episode of StreamCast with me, James Rutherford, also known as Charizard James on Twitch and other social media platforms, where we take a deep dive into the lives of all your favorite streamers and content creators. Joined with us today is Astralsflame. Take a minute to introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Astralsflame. You can also call me Sean. I am primarily an MTG arena streamer, commander streamer on the side, a bit of a TikToker, also do some cosplay, and run a commander podcast called Drop Return.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started with your name here, Astralsflame. Where the heck did you get your name from?
So it's actually a question I get more often than not, and no one really actually ever gets it right on the guess. Where Astralsflame came from was my first gamer tag. It was Astralflame from D&D and a bit of a mix of Ugin with his Ghostfire. So I took the mix of Ugin's idea of Ghostfire from like Future Sight, and then in the astral realm of D&D, I kind of collaborated them together to have Astralflame. And then when it came to Twitch, unfortunately, Astralflame was taken, so I had to add in the S, and thus Astralsflame came to be.
So you decided that it was going to be Astral's Flame instead of Astral Flames?
Yes.
Yep. You wanted one singular flame and not two flames. What's wrong with having two flames?
Nothing wrong with two flames, but Twitch didn't like me having Astralflame, so I am Astral's Flame instead.
All right. Fair enough. Let's go ahead and take a deep dive into kind of what makes you you, and what about your streaming story started. Let's go ahead and start with asking, what gave you the idea of streaming? Why did you start streaming? And talk to us about the process of when you first started streaming as well.
So what gave me the idea to actually start streaming was a couple years ago. I had a couple close friends in the cosplay community that streamed pretty much on a daily basis, or a few times a week. I interacted with their community. It's how I got to know them and how they got to be some of my best IRL friends. They lived close to me, which was really great as well. Seeing the kind of enjoyment that they got to do in the interaction with community seemed like a lot of fun. So I got the idea from there, but I didn't really know where to start because I was just like a baby cosplayer at the time. Not that I'm like super pro or anything, but I was like, I can't really stream making cosplay. So I'm like, maybe I can stream a game. What's a game I'm good at? I play Hearthstone. I hit Legend in Hearthstone. Let's stream Hearthstone. So I started streaming Hearthstone. Would have been almost 3 years ago. Coming up probably this October, it'll be 3 years. It's where I started. My streaming setup was a lot different back then too. I used to stream out of a Lazy Boy recliner.
At least you're comfortable.
And it was extremely comfortable. So I don't stream off a PC. I stream off a laptop. So I have I'm a one monitor person. I have no extra resources. So I'd be in my Lazy Boy recliner. My back would be stretched back. I'd be on my laptop, just gaming it out, and my legs would be stretched up, and it was comfortable. That's kind of where it started. It's where it is now, where I actually have a setup. I have a real chair. I have things and a proper audio setup. So
yeah,
that's kind of where it started, though. It was Hearthstone of all things that really did it. And I streamed Hearthstone for the better part of a year and a half, almost 2 years, and it finally got to me. I couldn't play the game anymore. So hard 180 switch from Hearthstone over to Magic, which I've actually been playing Magic for almost 20 years. So I don't know why I didn't think to stream Magic in the first place.
Well, at least you got that idea after Hearthstone. Talk about the switch between Hearthstone and Magic, because switching games could be pretty hard when you're streaming.
Yeah, honestly, it's not something I'd ever recommend unless you're kind of at the down in the bottom and you were just not even sure where to go anymore. I did it because I was not enjoying Hearthstone. I actively was getting very salty, which not a lot of people see. That's a very rare situation for me to get salty, especially on stream. But every stream was not fun. The kind of classic case, it didn't really feel like anyone was enjoying watching, or I wasn't even having fun. So I quit Hearthstone right away. I stopped playing altogether. In the last year since I've quit, I've maybe touched 4 games. I switched to variety streaming for the better part of a month, just playing games on the Switch. trying out different stuff and trying to make my headway there. And then about a month after that, I was like, why don't I just try Magic the Gathering Arena and see where that goes? And well, almost a year later, here I am.
What got you into playing Commander?
Commander's a funny story. It was university. So a lot of my friends that I play with in our Draw for Turn group, which is our podcast for Commander, are some of my IRL friends, along with obviously my podcast co-hosts and other friends we've met through the amazing value of Twitch and the internet. But it's my group of friends in university that got me into Commander. I put together a Niv Mizzet deck out of 100 rares out of my binder with, I think, like 34 basic lands, no fetches, like the jank of jank, what we would call binder tribal. And I really enjoyed it because we had like 8 people at a table jamming it out to Commander. It was a 4-hour game. I don't know that I'd ever recommend doing that again, but it was fun. It kind of started there, that sequence of deck building in a casual way and such a different restriction of like 1 copy of card per deck really just kind of set me off. And then I did that throughout college, university. I took a step back and then I started playing some competitive Magic in paper. Standard a little bit, modern a lot. Nothing like, no big finishes or anything. I just go to a tournament, play like 4 rounds, go 2 and 2 and drop and just have a good time. And then with the lockdown and everything, my interest for Commander really just started driving back up again. Because before COVID, I actually got sick and had a pretty major concussion. I couldn't walk for the better part of 6 weeks. So when you can't walk for 6 weeks, brewing decks is a really great way to pass the time.
Yeah.
So for those 6 weeks, I was brewing nothing but Commander decks and just sharing them with my couple buddies, Adam Swazo and EK. And they're the ones I'm running the podcast with right now. So there you go.
All right. Wow. Nice. That's awesome. I mean, it's cool that you started the podcast and you got into Commander with real life friends too. That's kind of usually how people start out, but you also have a podcast with them as well, and it's pretty cool. How many podcast episodes have you done so far, or if you don't know that number, how long have you been doing the podcast for?
So we are on episode 20. 21 is actually going to be tomorrow night. We've been doing it bi-weekly. So it will have been 42 weeks, almost a year.
Wow.
So it's been crazy how long it's been going on, and it's been a ton of fun.
I've heard a stat, I don't know where I saw it, but I heard a stat that 2%, just 2% of all podcasts last over a year.
I could believe that. Yeah, actually I could believe that.
So you're only 5 episodes away. That seems so soon. 5 episodes away from a year.
26. Yeah, 10 more weeks and we'll be at the year, but I think we're going past the year. I don't see us stopping anytime soon. Every week's just kind of something new to jam about. I mean, we're talking about aggro decks and Commander and how to better understand them this week. So which should be a really interesting discussion because like aggro decks and Commander are honestly something that gets really underestimated, especially like if I'll use the case of Kranko, because we all know Kranko from Goblins in Historic and how disgusting that can be. Him as a commander is even worse.
Flashbacks. There's a reason why I don't play Historic right now.
That's fair.
Well, transitioning over from your Commander podcast, do you just do Commander on the podcast, or do you do other things as well?
No, our podcast is strictly Commander focused. We do divvy out into different aspects of Commander. So while it's focused on the Commander format, we also try to reel in other situations of Commander, such as the social contract. For anyone that may not know Commander, basically it's the set of rules to make sure everyone kind of has like a really good game. Since Commander's such a casual format, you want to make sure everyone is getting the chance to do what they do. So certain rules and guidelines get established to make sure it's not just someone instantly wins. Because you want to make sure you're playing a game. It's a game for fun. But we focused on some other stuff. We had a friend of ours come on one time, and we actually talked about how you teach the next generation of players and get them ready to kind of enter the world of card games and all of that. Our friend of ours has 2 young sons, 7 and 5. His 7-year-old has been into the Pokemon World Championships, and his 5-year-old can successfully play a game of Commander, albeit with Dad's help a little bit. But it's really interesting how you can impart like lessons onto children to get them kind of interested into something that your passion in life is about, and then you kind of see the next generation grow up and take on those skills that they're learning, because their dad really imparted into them to be good sportsmen, right?
Yeah.
Even if you lose, like, it's okay, and that reflection gets shown in them not only just in playing games, but in life and in dealings with their friends and other people in their school. So life lessons in Commander, you can take away a lot from the game aside from just playing the game.
Yeah, that's really good to know. We have a question from chat as well. Where did Comp EDH come from?
Competitive EDH.
Yep.
So competitive EDH stemmed off of players really kind of wanting to optimize the format. While no matter what you're going to get into, whenever you get into a game, there's always going to be the set of players that want to produce something that is the best that it can be, right? The nature of competitiveness is always there. Competitive EDH kind of stemmed from that, in that nature, and taking decks to their brink and optimizing them to a true level of where they do what they need to do, and there's nothing else they're going to do. Competitive EDH and EDH, or competitive Commander and regular Commander, do kind of have different niches that they hit. A competitive Commander deck can work in a casual pod, but it's a very strong deck that will often have its win condition within the first 3 to 4 turns, identifying it as a very high level power deck. Whereas a lot of more casual decks are not something that are really going to do what they do until a bit later in the game and get established. So it's two different niches. I'll use the reference of the Johnny, Timmy, and Spikes. Spike players that really like to get in that competitive edge and tune something to the funnest it can be. That's where competitive Commander is going to come in, or competitive EDH. And the people that enjoy the brewing and want to just kind of have that fun time or just enjoy the social aspect will take it in on the casual side.
I've definitely had casual EDH games that have lasted like 4 hours just for one game.
Yeah, they happen. A lot of different reasons they happen, but they do happen.
All right. Let's go ahead and transition to something else that you like to do. We touched on a little bit, but I want to go a deeper dive into this. What made you get into cosplaying? And after that, what is your favorite cosplay that you did?
Okay, so cosplay. So I've always been a big anime lover. Watched anime since high school, and I've always wanted to cosplay. I didn't get much of a chance in high school. I didn't really live near any conventions, nor did I really have time to try to make my own cosplays. So when I was given that whole, like, you're living on your own, you have adult job and adult money, and I could go to conventions, I started cosplaying that way. My first cosplay was a closet cosplay, which was basically I took stuff out of my closet that worked for the cosplay. It was Hiro Yui from Gundam Wing, which is, for lack of a better term, tan shoes, white ankle socks, black shorts, and a green muscle shirt. And he has brown hair. That was my first cosplay. Yeah, it worked. I did, however, at a later time also pull off Marty McFly. Coincidentally, I had all of Marty's clothes kicking around, even the red vest, and which was my nickname in university in 4th year. I got called Marty because of that vest. My absolute favorite cosplay, though, has been Rakan from League of Legends. I spent about a year sewing that cosplay all together, making the cape and all of his feathers on his back. The longest feather is 76 inches long. The remainder are a mix between 60 to that 76. There is 9 of them in total. It took me a few months to get all the foam cut out, and a better part of 60 hours of painting to get all 9 prime painted and sealed. And then I don't know how many other hours to get them all attached to the cape.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of work.
It was, but it was extremely rewarding. It's been one of my favorite cosplays to absolutely have. I love the character and League itself, and just getting the chance to kind of cosplay as like a character in a game you love and sort of mimic it at conventions is a whole other world of experience to take in. And I cannot wait for COVID to be done and conventions to be back so I can bust him out again, because I miss being my best bird boy.
So when you are doing a cosplay, is it basically like you're basically in your own Dungeons and Dragons game in real life? Or are you just embodying and talking like, and just like basically just becoming that character?
So in some cases, yes. It really does depend. When you're with a group of friends and stuff and just wandering around a convention, obviously you just kind of want to be yourself. Um, you don't want to kind of maintain the character act. But when someone is asking to pose for photos, that's when you kind of adopt the persona, right? You take on that kind of role player mindset that if I'm cosplaying as Rakan and someone is striking up and asking me to get a photo of it, I want to give my best Rakan impression. I want to strike the pose. I want to maybe try to think of a line to get me in the right thought. So like you can do the best you can be. But not always. Not everyone does the whole in character thing. It's very rare. I shouldn't say it's rare. It's more uncommon. It's more people just like to dress up as their favorite character. When they see other people from the same fandom, you might kind of see that little fun aspect come out. But really, it's just people enjoying kind of the aspect of a whole other community and getting to enjoy something different.
Yeah,
Although
that's awesome.
I will say when the kids come out and ask for a picture, it's really cute when you try to mimic the character because they absolutely love that.
It's got to be rewarding too, putting all that time into making that outfit and all the sewing and the better part of a year putting that together just to be able to embody that persona for people, especially people that really appreciate it and get a lot of joy out of it.
It is. You kind of get like the wonders of thought on it because when someone sees like their favorite character kind of come to life in an aspect, you just see this like unbridled joy come in. Like one of the conventions I was walking at, I would just hear people calling out for me, Rakan, Rakan. I'm like, yes, can't move in these feathers, but yes, hi. And then like adopt the nature. It's Rakan, and because he's charismatic embodiment. But yeah, it's a I don't know. I can't put it into words, but it's just unbridled joy. Is kind of what you get from it.
It seems like you're very much entwined in the gaming community as a whole.
Yeah, it's been my life pretty much.
What is something that the gaming community just doesn't know about you yet?
Something they don't know.
It
I
could.
like to bake.
All right, there we go. That's an answer.
I don't think anyone knows that I actually have an old family recipe for cheesecakes, and I can do unbaked or baked cheesecakes in a plethora of flavors of cherry, strawberry, lemon, and just regular.
Um,
I think that's
I'm
it.
actually going to have you make that and mail it to me somehow.
You wouldn't be the first.
Because I
It's
love cheesecake.
I've gotten a wedding proposal off my cheesecake, weirdly enough.
Someone proposed to you because you made them
Yeah,
cheesecake?
yeah. It was a joke thing, but it happened. They busted out a ring, and I was just like, "Good joke."
Yes.
Gonna have to pass.
You're just like, you got me. This is the only way I say yes. Yes.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Do you bake anything else besides cheesecakes?
Cookies the odd time. I'm trying to get back on the whole dieting and getting in shape thing because
Who does that?
COVID.
I know.
I know who does that. No. So like I do cookies from the odd time. I've done muffins once. I do want to get more into it, but I just trying to keep health conscious right now. I mean, between I effectively in my life, I went concussion, couldn't walk for 6 weeks. Got back to the gym for 2 months. Sprained my ankle. Was out of the gym again for 2 months, and then got back to the gym for a week, and then COVID hit, and then my gym closed down. So the year has not been favorable to the waistline, and the waistline has to go.
All right. I mean, same here. I mean, just saying.
Hey, it happens, man.
So baking, that's a good actually a really good like, even working out, even going to the gym too. I mean, that's something that the gaming community might not know as well for you as well. I'm gonna ask you another question. What is your largest Magic the Gathering pet peeve?
Ropers. Sorry. There's two. It's ropers, and it is anyone who plays Mycosynth Lattice in Commander. There's the one card I hate in Commander.
Why do you hate Mycosynth Lattice? I think I know the answer, but let me hear it from you.
Okay, so in university days, there was one person we always used to have at our table that would just come on the odd couple times to play. They only had one deck, and it was an artifact-based deck. Mycosynth Gladys was in the deck, and they would effectively use Mycosynth Gladys to turn everything into artifacts and then blow up everyone else's board but their own, and then prevent you from playing other spells. That was their only deck. That was the only thing they did, and I absolutely detest that card because of it. I understand it's not the most broken card. There are other strategies that use it. I just don't like the card because of that.
I mean, at least they don't play Karn the Great Creator and then play Mycosynth Lattice, and then you can't tap anything for anything, including your opponent's mana.
I've had that happen before. Karn's fine. Mycosynth Lattice, I would ban that card if I could.
I've had that happen
Personal
when
pet
I was
peeve.
playing Modern in the Tron Mirror match. I was playing Mono Green
Ooh.
Tron, and then my opponent was playing Mono Green Tron, but I didn't own Mycosynth Lattice because it was sold out at my card store. And my opponent did own it, and then they played it, and needless to say, I died.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate. All right, talk about ropers now. What do you hate about ropers?
Sure. That they rope.
I shouldn't have asked that question. This is like actually obvious.
No, it's fine. Like rope, like playing in a tournament. I find it's a different case and story, right? Because we're all trying to think of our best play. There's things on the line. We're trying to do our best. When playing on ladder, if I'm seeing someone, for example, play like a mono red deck and they have like one card in hand and they are just deciding to let the timer go near to the end, that to me is a pet peeve because you know there is only one potential play that you're going to do with that card. Case in point of what it may be might slightly differ. Maybe you have two, but you're wasting your time and effectively wasting mine when we have the chance to get in more games that could be more fun. That's thinking and roping is one thing if you have to think about the play, but someone who is just callously wasting the time for no other sake, that's what really just burns my bridges.
Maybe what's fun for them is the roping.
I question their sanity.
Sanity in question for sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you post all of your podcasts on TikTok, or do you just talk about Commander on TikTok? Talk to me about why you started a TikTok and what kind of content you create on there as well, because I know you're pretty big into TikTok now.
Yeah, for sure. So TikTok started out kind of small. My friend Lunar Lil 28, one of other ComNet members, was on it, and I sort of got on the train of like scrolling through it and like, I don't know, these short little videos seem fun. How can I like give it a shot? I don't even remember what my first TikTok is. I just remember it was extremely cringy, and I hope to never have to see the light of day of it again. But I'm sure someone's gonna find it at some point. But I started trying to think of how I could utilize the platform just to kind of get some more interest or post some information out. And I kind of linked it with Twitter and where I grab the EDH Rec Commander of the Day and do a little tweet segment about who the commander is, obviously, and sort of ways you could utilize or interact with it. And then I started, hey, why don't I just do this on TikTok? Quick, Commander of the Day, 15 seconds or less. Let's go. That's kind of where it started. It's just been consistently. There are some days I miss just because life, but I found TikTok to honestly be a really engaging platform where you can open up a lot of discussion. Between the talks of Commander of the Day, I've engaged in discussions about using proxies in Commander and how that's acceptable or what is deemed an acceptable proxy or not. Opening up the discussion on the social contract. Like people don't like land destruction in Commander, but land destruction is what white does in the game. It's a control mechanic. So what is preventing white from being a good color in Commander? Is it because we don't like land destruction? Like, if we accepted it, would white be better? And sort of taking that approach to sort of engage with people on the different mediums and bringing them together to facilitate more discussion on the Commander format and get more interest generating in it. Because Commander is by and far the largest format of Magic right now. It's been the largest growing one and denotes a lot of interest in play. So what a better way to try to get more people in on a format and medium that's continually growing.
Especially because TikTok has so much organic reach of people that maybe looking at your video that you would never reach if you were just doing a Twitch stream or if you were just making YouTube content or maybe just on Twitter or Instagram. There's a lot more people that are able to see your content on TikTok than basically anywhere else unless you have a huge following.
Yeah, 100%. It's the organic algorithm that they have is really nice, and especially with the For You page approach. Like the hashtags help, but the more interest you take into a subject, the more you'll be drawn to that side of TikTok. So like there's this whole Magic the Gathering side of TikTok and so many different creators you can meet on there. Some of the creators I've had the chance to really get to know, and I've even had the chance to play against Commander with them now on stream and stuff and moving forward, planning out more games. So It's a really awesome place to just kind of explore and meet new friends.
I think one person in particular that I know has a pretty big following on TikTok that's a Magic the Gathering creator is Emma Skyward.
Yes, Emma's on there. We actually had the chance to play against Emma. What would have been like 2 weeks ago. Was really close game one with her. She took us down in game two. Also, Talia Vest as well. Talia's got a TikTok that she goes up on, and Talia's a really awesome individual to try and get to play against as well. I got my butt promptly kicked by Talia in 2 games as well.
Talia's a very, very good player and has improved a lot over the last few months to a year. She actually made the top four of the Stream League number 2 that was sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com earlier today.
That's fantastic.
And it was a power-packed tournament with a bunch of the best streamers and the highest quality players and streamers that you could think of, like the Ali Eldrazi's and Jeff Hoaglands of the world, and Jim Davis and everything like that. Like all of these players are in there. Andre Strasky played in the tournament and things, and Talia Vest made top 4, and it was a very, very big deal for her as well because it was the first tournament of this caliber that she made top 8 with. And not only did she make top 8, she won in top 8 and made top 4. Sadly, she lost in top 4, but she at least made the top 4, which is really, really good. So it was a cool thing that you get to play with Talia Vest or Emma Skyward or people like that you've met over TikTok. Explain how social media in general has contributed to the growth of your stream specifically.
So social media has really just kind of helped in the broader sense to give an open way to let people know that there even is a stream. It's also just been a way to engage with other creators and people in a separate medium. So when we kind of think about Twitch is just like a TV channel, right? We sit there, we're a person behind a screen that is being watched. But what is drawing people in to watch us? I mean, some people will actively browse Twitch by the, recommended section or the type of stream. But social media is really a tool you need to utilize to try to market your Twitch and draw people in. And that's honestly with TikTok and Twitter, Instagram a little less so. But TikTok and Twitter are two of the best things to try to utilize that. I interact a lot with people on Twitter through Commander of the Day, other Commander posts. Obviously, when WotC tells us there's a new set coming out, that's always a big hype. Even when there's just discussion going on, it's a quick and easy way to go, hey, what about if we did this? Or this is what the new card from the new set I love. And you generate discussion, interact with people through there. And you can try to promote your content through that way as well. Obviously, you could feature in your bio. Like I stream on Twitch. You can post when you go live on Twitter. And it gives a presence to people that follow you that there is another avenue that they have access to see more content from you. Because just like Twitch is a one-sided thing, Twitter is also a one-sided. It's just a series of tweets that we're throwing out with points, opinions, and information. So trying to utilize that together to build up your overall audience and community is really what is effectively going to make and help you grow. That's how I've learned to grow. TikTok's still new to it, but TikTok I've grown on a bit, and I've seen and interacted with people on TikTok and been able to bring them into stream, and vice versa through Twitter. And even Twitch has actually let people find my Twitter. So a weird tandem.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of growth, and you've grown a lot in the past few months because I've noticed. Let's go the opposite here. Were there any setbacks that you've had either early on or even recently that you might have learned the most from when it comes to streaming on Twitch?
Biggest setback. Actually finding something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Was probably my biggest setback. No, honestly though, streaming Hearthstone, sure I was doing okay with it. In Hearthstone I was getting average of 10 to 20 people would come and hang out. Primarily that would happen when I was hitting up at Legend, in the top 20 in that area. But when you take a break for a while and see a decline and you're just not having fun with the game anymore, people see that and they pick up on that, and then they're less likely to watch you. People either come for one reason, right? They come for gameplay or they come for the person, or in the odd case, they come for both. But if you're not playing the game well or you're not enjoying what you're playing, that is evident to people, and they're going to be less likely to stick around. What would you rather watch? Someone who is enjoying what they're doing, succeeding well on it, or you're just going to see someone that's constantly mad at the game not having a good time and is just absolutely miserable, right? Um, the biggest thing I had to learn from Twitch, honestly, was finding the right thing for me to stream. It was the right way to move forward and continue to develop on that. And I kind of had to follow the rock bottom in a lot of different ways in order to see and find that.
You said you started playing Magic when you were very little. You said you spent playing Magic what, for 20 years, you said? Talk about
Yeah,
the
close.
beginning, the very beginning of you playing Magic. How did that start? And talk about your history of playing Magic as a card game.
For sure. So I started when I was about 12. Scourge was just out and Mirrodin was transitioning in. So, I'm at this, weirdly enough, I wasn't even at my LGS for this one. I was at a flea market. They had an
Really?
introduction deck back when yeah, it was a flea market of all things. Um, they had an introduction deck and some packs of like Scourge. And I saw this one that had green trolls in it. I mean, I love dragons, but I didn't see a dragon deck. So I was like, okay, green trolls, magic. This seems fun. Let's grab this. This is $12. Hey mom, can I use my allowance? Yes, son, you can. And so I bought my first green deck. It was mono green and trolls. For Mirrodin is what I had purchased with that. And I went down to the local hobby store. I started going every Friday night and just playing with everyone there. Within a month, I ended up switching that green deck to a mono red deck and filled with dragons, of which I got to buy Scourge packs for. It was awesome because dragons are the best. I'm biased. It's fine. I accept I'm biased on that. That's kind of where it started. And then I built up that deck and I had been playing ever since I was 12. I just kept building a bit more and more. I really stuck in red. For the longest time, red is my absolute favorite color. It's my home color. Jund is my favorite color combination for tricolors, but that's kind of where it all started. And then it led to a bit of competitive play, loving modern and legacy, commander, and it just all kind of went full circle, to be honest.
Why is Jund your favorite color combination?
Corvold?
The one
No, I
card.
mean he wasn't. It's such a good card. No, Juns is my favorite. A lot of different reasons. The accessibility of color and what they do. So, I get dragons because dragons are amazing. Black gives you a lot of access for utility spells, removal, or life, using your life for additional advantages. Green, access to ramp or key card draw as needed. And red is solid for your creatures, your haste, and your ability. When you stick all three together, you get a really nice, interesting dynamic that can either take on a tempo plan, a bit of a lackluster control plan, or it can go very strong into stompy and aggressive. And it's every little bit I like about Magic. It's got my favorite tribe of creature. It's got the access of removal that I love. It's utilizing different parts of either your deck, your graveyard, or your life as a resource to take advantage and get things spread in so you can go in hard and win the game against your opponent.
One of the reasons why I like Jund isn't from dragons, like your kind. But Jund is one of my top two favorite color combinations. It's Jund and Sultai. And one thing they have in common is Golgari. So you could say that Golgari is my favorite color combination, but let's talk about Jund for a second. Um, for me, it's not about the dragons, like I said. For me, it's about having a mid-range deck that's aggressively slanted, that has nice removal, that has good powerful creatures. Basically think like Thoughtseize, Tarmogoyf, like those type of cards, Lightning Bolt, all in one deck. Like I feel like if I played Modern right now, I'd probably play a deck that's like that. But in Standard, you can still play like Goldspan Dragon. You can still play discard spells like Duress and Agonizing Remorse, and then you get access to this nice, powerful removal in cards like Eliminate and Heartless Act and different things like that. And you can choose between a lot of other ones. You can even play Feed the Serpent or Eat to Extinction or something like that, like some kind of exile removal. Like you can exile things, you can destroy things, you can give things -1/-1 counters. You can get around Indestructible. You can exile the whole board. You can exile one creature. You can do like a whole bunch of things, and it's all like applies to almost every creature. Like you take Heartless Act, it doesn't matter what kind of creature it is, as long as it doesn't have a counter, you can kill it. Eliminate, if it's as long as it's CMC 3 or I almost said younger, CMC 3 or less. If it's a creature or planeswalker, you can kill that as well. It used to be mono green. That was my favorite. Shout out to Rumty.
Okay.
But I realized that when I played mono green, I couldn't really kill anything, and like my opponent did something, and I just didn't have an answer to it. So I was like, well, I kind of want to be aggressive like mono green, but I want to have answers to stuff. So that's what led me in the Golgari plan. And then I was like, wait, but I want to be more aggressive than this. I want to be more aggressive than just like play a Scavenging Ooze or play a Love Struck Beast. I want to be like really aggressive. So I had this old deck back in the day. It's not back in the day, but it's an old standard deck from what was it? 2 formats ago when Guilds of Ravnica was still in standard. We had and I think War of the Spark was in standard as well. We had one of my favorite card ever is Assassin's Trophy, so you can see what kind of player I am.
Such a good card.
But I also like being more aggressive than what Golgari can usually give you. So I played Shock, and I played Rekindling Phoenix. And even right now, I would just replace those with Bone Crusher Giants. But at the time, that's what we had. We didn't have the menace that is Eldraine yet. But but like Jund Adventures would be like something that I would just like love to play. It didn't matter if it's good or bad. Just like I just like having aggressively slanted mid-range decks that can remove stuff that's like kind of aggro when you need it to, but also can kind of play the control game if you need to as well. Like Bone Crusher Giant, maybe you play some Eliminates or Heartless Sacks, or maybe even play Valky, or the flip side of Valky. I can't remember off the top of my head what that is. Tibalt. Yes. Yeah. Kind of that kind of game plan, but I don't really like regular Rakdos because then you don't have the big stompy stuff. Like you can't have like a 9/9 Scavenging Ooze. You can't have like a Love Struck Beast. Like so that's why I kind of like the Jund category. So I agree with you there as well, Astralsflame. We are on the same page.
We are. I mean, aside from like that, I'll also say like Jund just leads into one of my favorite archetypes of Sac. I love sacrifice-based decks, and with Jund as it currently is, especially in Historic, and the amount of ways you can build a Sac deck, it just makes me happy. I think at one time I had 7 different variants of Jund Sac, either revolving around Collected Company, Corvold, and Bolas the Citadel, or different combinations of the 3. I just, even still to this day, I just love building Sac decks.
I mean, it's Corvold, right? It's Jund and it's a dragon and it sacrifices.
Well, it is. I mean, I'll be honest though, there was even a Jund deck where I didn't have Corvold in it.
What?
Yeah,
Blasphemy.
I know, it's weird. So it was a Jund Coco deck, not sacrifice based, but I did a Gruul based shell, subbing in black for Rontig Regisaurs, and we had triple Embercleave in it. The deck I still think kind of needs a little bit of work, but I had a friend when doing testing with it. He went to the semifinals in a tournament with it during initial testing. On a Swiss round 8. I took it up to ranks in Platinum and Diamond during testing with it. But I'll tell you, Embercleave on Rotting Regisaur feels really good.
Can you imagine like a Rotting Regisaur with those short, stubby arms holding an Embercleave? It's just funny when you think about it.
He holds it with his mouth, obviously.
And then he just doesn't know where to go half the time, so he like discards cards out of your hand and stuff on the way to like dealing a bunch of damage.
Exactly. I mean, what's scary? Like, what do you have? A Gruul Spellbreaker with Embercleave or a Rotting Regisaur with Embercleave? I mean,
right, I'm going Regisaur.
I like
every time.
I would too. That's 16 double strike damage.
But sometimes Rotting Regisaur can just drop the cleave though if it's like your last card in hand and just goodbye cleave. It's like hands are too small.
Yeah. It does feel bad when that happens, but the deck is super fun, and I think it's got a lot of merit. There's still some work I need to finalize on it, but
all right. We talked about the history of you playing Magic 20 years ago. We talked about your favorite color combination. Let's talk about some of your goals in Magic. Let's talk about not your streaming goals, just your Magic goals. Do you have any tournaments that you want to win? Do you have anything that you want to do that's not competitive based with Magic? What are some of your Magic related goals?
So at some point during the next few months, hopefully when time allows it, I'd like to actually get in for a top 1200 finish on the Mythic ladder. I was really close a few months back. I cracked in at 1078. I was actually in it, and I was looking to go up. Coincidentally, I was playing Mono Green Stompy.
Coincidentally.
Which was working. Coincidentally. It was working really well. And then I hit a few bad losses, cracked me out of the back to 1500, then back to percents, and then with work right now, it's just been hard to find the time to really do a big Mythic push, but top 1200 Mythic. I would love to hit into an MIQ qualifier. and making day 2 for an STG satellite. I'm trying to get more into those. Jaffer actually got me into them along with my buddy Harding, and they are a ton of fun. I have an absolute blast playing them. I just need to sit down, put the time in, and get it done. So, top 1200, MIQ qualifier, and hopefully when paper turns we're back up, I can hit up some tournaments for Modern, maybe a Magic Fest.
All right, that's awesome. Those are some good goals right there. I expect you to say one thing and then you hit me with like 4 goals. That's awesome.
I'm ambitious. I'm sorry.
I know, right? You have to be ambitious if you have a stream, you have a podcast. You've been working on the podcast for almost a year, 41 weeks. You have like you're doing TikTok, you have a whole bunch of stuff. So if you haven't found Astralsflame already, I mean you found him now. Now let's talk about your streaming goals. What are some streaming goals that you have? Maybe recent in the near future goals, and maybe some long term goals.
Yeah, for sure. So streaming goal wise, it's trying to do more collaborations with people. So I've been trying to do reach out for tying in our podcast, because I stream our podcast on Twitch along with our weekly FMM Commander Nights. So with Twitch, I'm trying to get more collaborations in, so we get more people in to play Commander with us on stream. And James, like obviously, I'd love to have you in for a night. So hopefully we can find a night to get you in for some good Commander games.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, aside from that, it'd be like hitting partner, which is like all of our goals. I would like to do it at some point. It's not on the it's on my goal for 2022. I made a New Year's resolution to myself that by the end of 2021, I was either going to be in one of two places. I was going to be on the doorsteps, ready to go for partner, or I'd be at the point for partner. And so far, it's surprising and it's been wholesome, and I'm surprised at the growth, but like I'm working towards my goal. It's that little bit of surprise success. I'm seeing the way to get there, and I'm hoping to keep capitalizing on that, using that, and seeing more people get in and enjoying the content.
I also see that as well when I'm streaming at the same time as you. I'll have the Twitch browser tab open, and looking at a different streamer streaming, because a lot of them are just my friends. I want to see how they're doing, especially you, Astralsflame. And I've seen you with 30 something, 40 something, sometimes 50 something viewers, and it's like awesome to see that just a short time ago, maybe 2, 3, 4 months ago, it wasn't even close to that.
Yeah, it was a lot lower at that time. I mean, even when I did the switch from variety streaming, I was at like 3 average viewers way back in April 2021. No, sorry. Wow, this is 2020. What am I even saying?
So next
April
month?
2020. But like even same to yourself, James. Like I remember like 4 months back when we were first talking, and like Jaffer, like all of our friends, we've all started back at like where we were at kind of the shell, and to see where everyone has gone at now is just it kind of gives you like that warm tingly feeling down your spine that's just like empowering, because like we're all F2K, like we're F2K comment through and through, and it's nice to see the community growing and collaborating as a community and growing together as a community in the right ways, not the empty follow for follow, but actually like utilizing the network and abilities that you have open to you to your fullest extent.
Oh yeah, 100%. I have nothing bad to say about F2K and F2K Comnet. Everyone in Comnet, literally everyone, has the most positive attitude and the most helpful, and they want you to succeed in every single way. Not even just your stream. They're like, how are you doing today? Good morning. Like all these types of things like that you don't get from a lot of other teams. And it's like so, rewarding to see one of your teammates do well on Twitch, especially someone that was in Comnet that maybe moves up to the not real F2K team, but the main F2K team, like someone like Zabricus that was the first ever Comnet member. And
she was,
and moved up from Comnet into the main Fade to Karma team, and now she streams for average 100 something viewers every stream, which is amazing to see someone go from. And she's probably not the only one, not the only one, but maybe the only one for Magic so far, but probably not the only one in general, right?
No, but I think she is the only one from Magic so far that I'm aware of. I mean, I remember watching Zab when she was averaging 30, 40 on her streams, and interacting back with her back, because we have in common like a really amazing book series that we both love. It's the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. So like I started talking with Zeb because I shared with her a cosplay I did of the main character from the book series. So that's like how I got to know Zab through F2K. And checking out her streams when she was just playing, and it was like 30 people on. I mean, seeing her growth from like then to now is just it's surreal. Like you see someone who puts in the time, the effort, and utilizes everything available to them to push forward and get their goal. And despite her, being on the main team, she is still in ComNet and a valued community member and interacts all the time. Like that to me is the best kind of person a person can be.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And if you want to learn more about Zabricus, you can actually find Zabricus's podcast episode on this StreamCast podcast, which in whatever podcast you're listening to, whether it's YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Podbean. You can find that episode as well on here if you want to take a deep dive and learn more about Zabricus. She's an awesome, very valued member of this community, and I can't thank enough for her being a part of everything that we're going through here. So I have one last question for you. It's a little more lighthearted, and you have to answer right or you're banned.
Oh, okay. I'll try.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes or waffles? Can I choose both?
There's two exceptions. The two things that you can't say.
Okay.
Is French toast and crepes. You cannot say those two. It has to be either pancakes or waffles. You can't say both. What do you prefer? If both of them are in front of you and you were not hungry enough to eat both of them, which one do you eat?
Pancakes.
Yes. You'll love to hear it. Pancake gang. It's that light flame.
It's that light, fluffy little bit, that little bit of maple syrup. I mean, yeah, you can do it on waffles, but like, if I wanted a waffle, I'll gotta have a waffle cone for ice cream. Like pancakes, you can't have a pancake ice cream cone. You gotta have pancakes, man. Pancakes.
You gotta have real pancakes. You gotta have like that fluffy texture every time, melt in your mouth. Freaking do whatever you want. Dress it up. Do you like chocolate chips or bananas or cinnamon or whatever, or strawberries on your pancakes, or how do you like your pancakes?
So I'll take pancakes as they are, or I'll mix in chocolate chips, or I'll have some strawberries, a little maple syrup, a little up. I do make pancakes actually the odd time. Maybe that was something worth mentioning at the start. So like I go camping every year with a group of like 6 to 12, and normally I'm in charge of cooking, which is a mix of breakfast and dinner. So I'm on pancake duty, but after I'm done making pancakes, I make bacon, and I do whiskey maple syrup bacon. So we put the bacon strips in the frying pan. I'll add in a nice little bit of whiskey, let that kind of take in. Then we add in the maple syrup. So we have
we have like a gourmet right now.
Oh, it's even worse with dinners. So like with the burgers I do on camping trip, I ask the main organizer to always bring two things. Obviously the whiskey, but I always ask him to bring Guinness beer as well, because I marinate the burgers prior to going on to the fire pit grill. Good. So we mix them in. So then you've got this nice mix of whiskey and Guinness kind of savored into the burger. It goes onto the grill. I take the little bit of juice remnant and pour it over top just to make sure it doesn't get into the fire, because alcohol on fire is bad. Don't do. And then we take like freshly sliced cheddar cheese and put that over top of the burger when it's just about done. So that kind of mixes in. Then you've got the smoky flavor with the whiskey and Guinness mixed in burgers, and it's mouthwatering.
Wow.
Sorry,
if I wasn't hungry before, I really am now.
Sorry, the side tangent there.
and you said in the beginning of the podcast that you wanted to lose the gut, okay? And so do I. I said I wanted to as well. And then you're talking to me about this amazing whiskey Guinness burger. All right, something's got to give here. No.
Burgers are healthy.
Right? It has all the food groups. Must be healthy.
It's soul food, man. It's soul food.
It's soul food. All right. Well, thank you for hanging out here on the StreamCast Podcast. I have a last question for you. How can we find you on social media? What are some of your social media links?
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Astralsflame. Oh, and YouTube, youtube.com/Astralsflame. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I don't do much on it aside from arena videos, but yeah, I'm on pretty much every social media platform on Astralsflame. Just search up the name. You should find me. Yeah, pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Astralsflame. My good Fade to Karma Comnet. friend here, member here as well, friend of the stream. Thank you very much for joining us on episode 10 of StreamCast Podcast. And we will see you for the next StreamCast in 1 week.